More
These are
Bitcoin.
the top crypto stories of the day. We have Salana getting a much needed upgrade. What's that going to do? Will the chain break again? Also, gold bugs are out in full force. Grab the mosquito spray because they're buying up everything. Pawn shops are running out, and so is Costco. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about some Bitcoin. Is it running out of exchanges? And one of our guests might be selling their house in Bitcoin. Let's discover crypto. All right, thank you for joining, and go ahead and hit that like button because we got 4 phenomenal guests. And I know I say that a lot, but this is the best panel of experts we've ever had in my entirety of existence. We're going to go and lead with Gary Cardone. Gary, really excited to talk to you about some Bitcoin. Gary, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Finding an entry point here.
Always a good time, and we're going to talk about why he's trending later. Also on, we have Jackie Dutton. Jackie, how are you doing today? You buy any good meme coins?
I've got a couple for you. We'll talk.
All right, I can't wait. Second topic. Then also we have Coach Ty. Don't call him Crypto Ty. Coach Ty, how old were you when you learned how to tie a tie?
Ooh, I think 16.
Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Some people, they still don't know. And then last but not least, we got Eric Carlson. Eric, I saw some puppers. Are we going to see any appearances by any canines?
Well, we got the one in the corner here. So we got Tinkerbell up here. She's always rocking with me.
That's
and then we got
likes.
Lone Wolf Girl.
Oh, okay. We just got 500 more likes just off that. Appreciate that, Eric. All right, well, let's get into the first story here, and that's Solana's update. Solana rolling out an update to tackle network congestion here. Why? A meme coin trading frenzy. Also, a recent spike in users has stressed the network in recent months. I want to show this article here. It's version 1.17.31. This is the first in a series of addresses. Can we share the screen, Hannah? All right. Producer shaking her head. All right. Well, congestion issues are plaguing the blockchain. And so they're going to try to do some upgrades. And you're saying this upgrade is needed. We got Salana just been crashing. Congestion has been down. We've seen like 80% of transactions have been failing in recent days, especially with some of the meme coin launches. Transactional values aren't as high as it has been in the past. A lot of people are saying these are bots. Bots are plaguing the network, and meme coin traders trading their $2 worth back and forth. Version should be rolling out. There's going to be several versions rolling out over the next couple of weeks. But I got a question for you, Gary. This is just kind of a broad statement. I want to get, what are your thoughts on this broad statement? You hear it often. They say Solana is a victim of its own success. Would you say that's a fair statement? And can that statement actually even make sense?
I don't think that makes any sense. I mean, somebody from Wall Street must have made that up. I think everything's going to get stressed. Like we're starting to hit adoption, and scaling is a really seriously difficult problem to do. Just look at the problems X is having, right? So I think you're going to run into these problems. This is like building super highways in the 30s, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that got killed building highways. You wouldn't stop building those highways over dams and lakes and what have you, just because there was some faltering, I think. So for me, this is to be expected. The problem is it kind of removes the whole utility conversation when you say, hey, there's utility, but it's going to be a bumpy road to get there.
Yeah, that's a great statement. What's its utility? Oh, it can handle the high stress load. Well, what's happening tonight? Oh, well, we got a high stress load. Yeah, you do got to break some eggs. Fun fact for the chat here. The Great Wall of China, people die building some of these large projects, Empire State Building, Hoover Dam. How many people died during the Great Wall of China? 1 million Chinese people died building that wall. Maybe some Mongols as well. But yeah, a lot of people died building that wall. So, just kind of to his point there. Now, Jackie, when it comes to Solana breaking, I see 2 main culprits. One, I feel like you're a little bit of an expert on. Who's more at fault for breaking Solana? Is it the Solana developers or is it the meme coin traders? What do you think? And the bots, what do you think?
Obviously, we have the massive influx of the meme coins and the normies and everybody aping into all of the dog coins. So that certainly didn't help anything. But I still feel like Solana should get a little more credit than what they're getting right now. They had bots, they've had meme coins, they've had people building real utility like Ore, which actually paused today. They're going to do a V2 of their contract, but you have all of this influx, and it's still handling it. They're on the struggle bus, but they're handling it. Look at Coinbase. They can't handle just people trying to sell Bitcoin, and they have 3+ years to prepare for this. So I don't know. I go easier on Solana. They're working on it. They're fixing it.
All right, they're working on it. We'll be easy on them, especially given a rumor, Coach. Now, Coach, this is conspiracy-laden theories that I'm about to spit out here. There's no facts backing up what I'm about to say, because I'm about to put out some bold statements here. Some say the reason we're seeing so many issues with Solana is bots that are paid for by competing L1s. Do you think there's any truth to the notion that Ethereum devs or Ethereum whales or just people who want to FUD Solana, that they're behind some of the attacks on Solana because they'd rather pump what they hold?
Okay, so I mean, yes and no. I would say I'm like 20/80 on that. I don't necessarily think so. I think that Solana just has a lot going on, and the tech is just not there yet. And my following knows I'm not a huge Solana fan. I'm a big fan of ICP, Cardano, Ethereum. But at the same time, I mean, what you guys were just saying, there's a lot going on with Solana. There's a lot of things being built on Solana, and the tech is just not there. So could there be some bots and things? Sure, but I don't think it's enough to crash the network. That'd be a lot. So that's my thoughts on it.
All right. And chat's throwing out some other suggestions there. Golden Gate Bridge, also a bad one there. All right, now last Solana question for you, Eric, here. I see these outages, I see these issues, I see these upgrades planned. Then I look at the price, and the price never really falters. I think, we've got a little bit of a cool down period. Some might say it's Bitcoin. Some might just say Solana was too hot too soon. How can Solana's price get away with multiple outages? I feel like in the past, when Solana was out, you go check CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, and the candle be green for the last 24 hours. Why is there that disparity or that disconnect between whether or not the chain works and price action?
I think it's pretty simple. I think it's just that when Solana isn't working and you have all these failed transactions, people aren't able to move their money off of these DEXs to centralized exchanges and start selling. I mean, and that's where we're getting all of our price aggregation is going to be from the SEXs, not from the DEXs. So, all of these things are leading to Solana getting really popular and degenerate gambling on meme coins, which there's nothing wrong with gambling if you are, betting with, money you can afford to lose. So I'm not knocking the meme coin guys right now, but they pumped up on a chain that couldn't handle it. And then none of the could be moved off. So the candle stays green longer. And if you can take advantage of something like that, like I told you last time I was on the show, I bought some Solana, like not a lot. I had found some extra cash from a 401k, and I bought some Solana under 150. Everything started crashing. Solana wasn't moving much. I was able to move out of Solana at like $1.65 and, made a nice little profit. And I moved it into a coin that I like a lot more. I moved it into Cardano. So that's what I see when I see the price doesn't really drop when they have all these outages.
All right. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, that meme coin traders, they don't care. Oh, I could trade it. But when the price is falling 80% in 24 hours, you'll care. You're going to care then. All right, let's talk about the gold bugs hitting the pawn shops, everybody. Bloomberg reporting a story about a rush of customers to pawn shops in the last couple of weeks as people looking to cash in on gold's rise in price. Now that gold's hitting new all-time highs, people are starting to look over at grandma's earrings that are handed down to them and say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to wear these anytime soon. Let's go ahead and turn this into fiat, which loses its value. Also, probably can't share a screen, but Costco, I just pulled up their 1 ounce gold bar. They limit one transaction per membership. Not eligible for price adjustments there, not eligible for return. So lots of reports about Costco unable to keep up with demand. Also with Pax Gold, that's the crypto version of gold, it spiked like in another $400 to $500, depending on the exchange, past gold's real all-time high. So this gold token supposed to be pegged to the price. but during volatile periods, it will wick up much lower or much higher depending on the direction of the coins there. Historically, investors, they do like gold as a safe haven. So now, Gary, I think this is just good a place as any. You're actually selling a house in Bitcoin. You're asking for Bitcoin. Let's just see if I can pull up the number. 9 bedrooms, 14 bath, and you're asking for 242 Bitcoin. What would you ever consider gold? Why did you choose Bitcoin? And, what are your thoughts about when you went into that process? Like, you know what? I'm going to list this in Bitcoin instead.
I'm trying to become the senior vice president of marketing at Bitcoin. I don't know where to send my resume to the CEO of Bitcoin, but I have been saying that there's a marketing problem, and that's what makes me so bullish. So my brother, I think, threw up his home in Miami for 600 some odd Bitcoin. By the way, you can all just give me a little clap because I've absolutely converted him. And the ideal situation for us would be that Grant never invests another dollar into Bitcoin, but talks about it a lot. That will allow you and I to buy it cheaper because there's a lot of grants out there yet to come in. I suspect this was a really good PR position for him, but it is him coming around because he's not going to say something that makes him, he's not going to consciously say something that makes him look stupid. I had just recently sold a home down the street and the fees are like crazy. And I deployed that into Bitcoin. And while my brother was so, hot, I was like, hey, I think I have a better property, but I only want to sell it for Bitcoin. And really, Dee's, the main reason is it is principle now to me, because quite frankly, COVID has set me up so well that that's what I was talking about earlier before we started, that it's going to take that many Bitcoin to get me out of the home. That's really the point. It's a very secure location. I would sell it, but it would only be because I can get 250 Bitcoin. And I have a goal before I'm 70 to get to 1,000 Bitcoin. So I got to be willing to get rid of something, dude. Right.
Yeah. No, great points. And really applaud your efforts right there. I think this is going to be one of those things where, that maybe during a bearish period, people are like, oh, I can't believe you did that. But then on the long time scale, people are just going to find it so incredible. They'll look at you like Papa John's, not the guy buying the pizza for 10,000 Bitcoin. They're going to look at you as the Papa John's manager. Like, there's a 2-month period we felt like it was a bad idea. And then 20 years later, though, you'll be heralded potentially as, one of the best real estate plays ever. All right, now, Jackie, I want to kind of talk about how Bitcoin is viewed versus gold. To the average person, Bitcoin it's held by freaks. It's held by weirdos. It's the people who build bunkers in their spare time, have ghillie suits. But gold's respected. 5% allocation by, the most conservative and serious investor here. Will Bitcoin ever be treated the same way as gold, where you're not a freak or a weirdo or a conspiracy theorist if you want to have Bitcoin as one of your large holdings?
I mean, first of all, I know a bunch of weirdos who hold gold and silver. Silver is a peak weirdo, in my opinion. So those are like the people willing to stand around a gas station and trade like money or, I don't know, like, doomsday supplies for your actual gold. So I think it's funny that, yes, although you have this like massive institutional conservative, it's the blue chip, it's like the boomers asset of all assets, you still have a bunch of weirdos that are at a pawn shop like trying to exchange it. So I think Bitcoin is still going to be the same in that you have the freaks who are going to continue to talk about it. But look, we have BlackRock here. We have BlackRock, we have Invesco, we have all of these major hedge funds. People are taking Bitcoin just as seriously. And especially with everything going on in the Middle East, the US dollar, now China's dollar has replaced the US dollar in Forex trading. I just think we're moving into a new territory now. And Bitcoin is equally in equal footing with gold.
Yeah, I'm kind of bringing my personal baggage into this. Me and the fiance were heading to Dallas this weekend, and we're talking about her friend watching the dogs. and we're talking about payment. And she's like, well, we just take her out to dinner or something. I said, well, I was just going to give her $50 in Bitcoin. And she just kind of like looked at me. She's like, babe, no one, she doesn't want that. No one wants that. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm the weirdo. I just got to remember, I come into the office. I'm a normal person talking to you folks. I'm a normal person. Out in the wild though, we're heralded as, freaks and weirdos largely. All right, Coach, I want to ask you here, I don't know if you've been looking at the precious metals market lately. Gold, all-time high. You got a lot of the retail investors with your TikTok crowd, gigantic TikTok. Go follow his content there. But if you had $1,000 to put in gold or silver and you can't touch it for a year, there's no vampires. What are you going to hold? What are you going with and why?
I'm going to hold gold. I'm always going to hold gold. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that no matter what happens in history, it's going to be here. It stood the test of time. Obviously, the normal stuff that when you think of gold, right? And I've never been a big fan of silver. It's kind of why I would never buy Litecoin. Like if you can buy gold or you can buy Bitcoin, why would you buy Litecoin and silver when you can own the best two assets the world has ever seen? That's how I look at it.
All right. And some would say another great asset is that St. Petersburg real estate. If you want to live there, check out Gary Cardone's house, 250 Bitcoin. It could be yours. Says 252. He said 250. Might be a little wiggle room. All right, Eric, last question.
I'll leave 4 ounces of gold in the house. Okay. 4 ounces. I'll leave 4 ounces.
I carry around an old $10 bill that says in silver, payable, bearer on demand. So yeah, not as cool as 4 ounces, but I carry around my old $10 bill. All right, Eric, last question on gold here, or at least gold bugs. Gold, you listen to the gold bugs, when they're talking about Bitcoin. They're like, well, gold could be used. It's in your phone, right? They'll always do that. They'll point at your phone. They'll be like, it's in your phone. It's in the TV. It's in space equipment. NASA buys it. Those are all good arguments. So why would you say Bitcoin is still better despite that?
It's for the exact reason that we're seeing gold prices kind of go up and Bitcoin falter. It's because it's liquidity. Gold is not a liquid asset to just trade back and forth all that easily. Yeah, with the paper trading, sure. But if you actually have custody of your gold and you're trying to trade that gold, like that's why you have that article about that, everyone's going to the pawn shops and trying to trade it, and it's being a struggle for them because it's not a super liquid asset. Bitcoin, you can trade it anywhere in the world. You can custody it anywhere in the world really easily. And that's why whenever we see something like the war break out and people freak out, what's the first thing that happens? Well, all of a sudden, certain hard commodities are going to go through the roof in price. So we saw it with the COVID lockdown situation too. Oil, people were trying to, all these different things. You have these huge liquidity crunches that happen. And so prices move quickly. And the first thing that goes is the most liquid assets. And that's Bitcoin. And that's, blockchain in general. So crypto. So that's also why Pax Gold has way more volatility than just holding gold or an ETF, gold ETF from one of your broker dealers. So, for me, it's just, everything that you like about gold as a store of value, Bitcoin does it better. When has the analog version ever been better than the digital version? Never, with one exception. Nuclear blast hits us and an EMP takes out all of the computers and all of our internet and infrastructure and all that kind of thing. Well, gold's not going to be valuable for you then anyways. You better have some brass, some rice, some salt, and some things that, and water purification, because that's when you're going to need that, So you're not going to need gold in that situation, just like you're not going to need Bitcoin in that situation. So why go with gold when Bitcoin does everything better?
No, great point there. Part of the issue, I don't say issue, the reason you saw that volatility during the escalation in the Middle East, gold was not really being traded on serious desks, serious exchanges, Chicago Mercantiles Exchange, for instance. Stock market was down. It's the weekend. Bitcoin, 24/7. And so that's why you saw a little volatility. It reminds me of the analogy would be it's the Waffle House. Bitcoin is Waffle House, right? So, hey, Olive Garden, not open at 3 a.m. So guess what? You don't see a bunch of crazy videos. Waffle House, they're in the trenches. They're all right. They're operating 24/7. So you know what? You're going to see a little bit of that craziness in the wee hours of the night. All right, that was a bad analogy.
And Waffle House is amazing too. So, don't diss Waffle House.
Hey, I
Word.
love Waffle House. Unironically, All-Star Breakfast is a very, very good value and pretty dang tasty. All right, let's talk about exchanges running out of Bitcoin. So we got pawn shops, Costco, they're running out of gold. But what about exchanges running out of digital gold, everybody? That's what we're talking. I can't share my screen here, so just throw a couple numbers at you. It looks like the Bitcoin supply on exchanges could run out in 9 months. Coincidentally, a term of a human there. Just kind of looking at some numbers. If we can average 7,000 Bitcoin leaving exchanges every day, we will run out of Bitcoin. There's about 2 million left. So about 9 months later, no more Bitcoin to buy off exchanges. And of course, that's assuming no one sells, no whale dusts off the old ledger there. That will not happen. But we have seen $52 billion of flows, 12 billion inflows since launch. So 7,000 Bitcoin a day, really not that out of range. Could potentially happen here. Now, I want to ask you, Gary, here. Now, normally, as price goes up of any asset, more sellers come out of the woodwork. We're seeing it with gold. People are selling grandma's earrings, right? Gold's all-time high. Guess I'll go ahead and sell that. Will Bitcoin ever run out of some of these OG whales, some of these people that were mining Bitcoin when it was $1? At what point do those old sellers get exhausted and almost all Bitcoin being traded? It's relatively recent Bitcoin.
I think that's the multi-trillion-dollar question. What's it going to take? Because you really need, I think, probably 20%, maybe more, to come into the market out of the extremely low cost. This is one of the problems that, for me, my thesis of coming into Bitcoin, this is one of the primary problems.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. So,
just not to cut you off, but I kind of felt like, I don't want to speak for you. I feel like a sucker buying this $500 Bitcoin, knowing someone got it for $5. And for that reason, I'm out. I felt like, well, they got in better. I'd be an idiot to buy. Will people feel like that forever?
Well, I don't think that I don't have that response. I get really nervous when I hear opinion leaders in Bitcoin who have an extremely cheap weighted average cost say they will never sell. Yeah. Well, they will never sell because they probably have a tax event. And if they don't have a tax event, they already have made so much money. They'll just, do this to the market. And that's not healthy, man. But now I believe in markets. And so what will happen is the price is going to run up. And you're going to have the old guys go, oh, wow, I missed that because I was never a seller. And then that price is going to come down again 80%. And the wife and the boyfriend and the son's going to say, dude, you left $300 million on the table. Really? You really did that? And you could have bought all this real estate with my twin brother and made us. No, seriously. I think that you're going to really start to hear me talk about Bitcoin and real estate. We need these old super rich guys like the Max Kazes of the world start buying large parcels of real estate because it's going to offer them an unbelievable cash flow distribution model that then lets them buy and feed into more of this industry. And just sitting on the money, sitting on money. I mean, this has been in my briefcase for at least 12 years. I travel with 4 to 10 ounces of gold everywhere I go because it only weighs 10 ounces. It's an insurance policy for me. Nice. So I just think that, but the rest of it I'm going to put into circulation. I'm not going to just hoard it, right? So I don't like. I think we'll get the sellers on the downside slope. Like I still think we're going to have 70 and 80% type volatility. Because to your point, why would somebody sell it at at 100,000?
Yeah,
they've already got all the money they need.
Really good point. The family members, the wife, maybe they start maturing, start having kids, start just kind of changing their risk profile. Jackie, what are your thoughts about that? Someone that maybe mined Bitcoin in their mom's basement, literally as a teenager, but now this person's starting to grow up, potentially getting married, potentially having kids. maybe starting to think about, buying some more real estate or setting up some college trust there. I mean, is that a possibility where the OGs start to wise up? What are your thoughts on that theory?
Yeah, I think your life starts dictating kind of where you start spending your money when you're 19 and you don't have anything. It makes sense to keep it on this laptop and then just carry around this thumb drive with you or something. But I think, yeah, as you start, you need a house, you have kids, you want them to be able to have property, and that's only getting more expensive. So being able to diversify your assets, as we've seen with crypto, right? Crypto created a bunch of different assets for people to diversify into because they were less expensive than Bitcoin as Bitcoin got, more and more expensive over time. So I think just we will see the diversification of the assets. And we'll start to see those people who, if they've held on this long, I think they do have a selling point.
All right. Well, Ty, I got an interesting question. Just kind of thought about here. People, because I think of your retail crowd on TikTok. Nothing against TikTok. I think it's just not as deep degens. They're not digging in Discord logs. They're not on X a lot of the time here. But they're looking at Bitcoin versus gold, and a lot of people say, "I want the next Bitcoin." Right? What's the next Bitcoin? Well, that's fine. Bitcoin 60K. What's the next Bitcoin? You never hear, "Oh, that's the next gold." Oh, this palladium. Oh, it's definitely the next gold there. Oh, you better get in. It's only $10 an ounce. It's going to be 2,000 soon. Will we ever get to a point where people shut up and stop saying the next Bitcoin, or will we forever chase quote unquote next Bitcoin there?
I think we're always going to chase it, but I don't think it's going to be what's the next Bitcoin. I think it's going to be what's the next meme coin. That's going to stick for a while. Right? Like, look at that's I don't ever hear what's the next Bitcoin anymore. If I do, it's from someone who's much older, right? It's always what's the next meme coin. I think we're going to hear that for a long time, because look at the money that's coming in right now is they're all going into meme coins. I actually did a live earlier today talking about how it's sad where our society is, we have things that actually are changing the world, and people are like, well, I'm going to buy this coin that has no use case, but I think I could become a millionaire, so I'm going to buy this. It's crazy to me, and I think that's going to be what people are chasing, especially this bull run. We'll see what regulation does to meme coins moving forward. I think that there's going to be some type of regulation that's going to slow down the growth of meme coins in the future. I just wouldn't be surprised. Good old Gary never surprises us, right? But that's my thoughts on that, man. I think it's going to be meme coins.
All right. Goldman Gary, the youngest VP ever at Goldman Sachs. All right. Eric, we're going to wrap it up with this question here. Now, back to Bitcoin running out, exchanges running out. Normally during a bear market, exchanges load up on Bitcoin. They've done it the previous two. A lot of people assume, oh yeah, well they'll do the same this time as well. This bear market, exchanges have less Bitcoin at the end versus the beginning. First time ever. So the question is, why didn't exchanges load up during the bear market when the price was low?
Well, I think FTX has a lot to do with that. I think the way that they lost all those customer funds, I think that prematurely actually flooded the market during the height of the bull cycle. And so a lot of those, different cryptos that they were in, Bitcoin, everything, they had, they were an exchange. They had tons of different coins that they were holding and customer funds that they were, dealing out for different things. So I think that kind of sucked a lot of the liquidity out of the bear market. And then on top of that, I think you had a couple of different things happening. I think there were some institutions that were loading up with ETFs like that. And there was a lot of these ETFs getting approved. They got approved about a month faster than I thought they were going to get approved even. So I think that was part of it. And then now that this demand from the ETFs has really taken off, has really taken a lot off of the exchanges. So we're in this really peculiar position where we're about 6 months ahead of schedule almost from the Bitcoin halving. So normally the supply cut is, really starts to cause the amount on the exchanges to drop, and then we see a big increase in price. This time we're kind of in that 15% of the bell curve of adoption going towards 50%. So high rate of adoption coming in. So all of this is coming from the demand side, not necessarily the supply side when it comes to Bitcoin. So I think it's just a purely demand driven thing with the ETFs. You know, fortunately enough for us, the prices are staying low enough to scoop up some more while you still can, because Grayscale, everyone talks about the US government holding the most Bitcoin, but it's Grayscale. Grayscale had like 300 something thousand Bitcoin, and they've been dumping on the market because they got to take care of some issues from Genesis Global, because DCG being the parent company, they owe a bunch of people money, you know, Gemini Earn and all that kind of stuff. So they have to sell off some of that. They're also losing customers because they have incredibly high fees compared to everyone else. I even think I saw Bitwise says for the next 6 months, they're not charging any fees for an ETF, which is insane. So you can have free custody and potentially get a marginable account with Bitwise. So that's pretty amazing. So I think the demand is really the thing that we're, you know, seeing here, less the supply, because like we all know, the Bitcoin halving isn't for another couple of days. So it's not a supply shock, it's a demand shock. And once the supply shock also hits, things are going to get crazy. And, you know, people are going to start hitting those magical numbers where they're going to start selling because, you know, maybe the Bitcoin OGs like Max Kaiser, they never sell because they have a bunch of money and they are just going to miser it. But all of the people who got in 2 cycles ago, who've never had money, who all of a sudden have, oh man, I've got 100 Bitcoin and it's worth $150,000. So I am so rich right now. I'm going to sell 500 Bitcoin right now, be back in later, and I can buy everything I want. You're going to see some of those more Bitcoin OGs who aren't max selling their Bitcoin. And I think because the ETFs are not going to be in and out people. You know, once the money really starts flowing, they're going to be buy and hold for the next 10 years. I used to be a financial advisor. I would set up a strategy, do goals-based investing, and be like, hey, this is our plan for the next 5 years, but I'm going to call you every year just to make sure nothing changes. They don't sell out of positions. And if they're buying up all these OG Bitcoin whales, they're going to suck up that liquidity too. And then it's all going to be just retail trading back and forth and getting, you know, priced out of Bitcoin eventually. I think we're going to see really high prices this cycle.
Really, really great assessment, folks. Folks, I really feel like this has been a fantastic episode. 4 phenomenal guests, all putting 4 very unique perspectives. This is one of the best episodes I've had in a long time. I want to give a big shout out to all the guests. Go down below, check the description. We have links to all their content. Gary, check out that house that he's selling. It's going to blow you away. Jackie, really, really great content on the subculture of Web3. I think that's a fair assessment. Coach Ty, just bringing in, hey, it's a great barometer of where the markets wants it to head. You know, you get a good barometer there. And then Eric Carlson, that was just a fantastic breakdown there at the end. So make sure you follow all their content. That's all we got time for today. Like I said, it's been a great episode. Folks, see you in the future.